What's up, y'all? Welcome to the newest MR2 video. I've been wanting to do this video for a super long time, like basically since I got the car I've wanted to do this video, and that's just running over all of my favorite little features on the car, all the little quirks and gimmicks that make the AW11 MR2 my favorite car. If you want to see more videos like this, leave a like, that would be awesome. But without further ado, let's take a look inside. The first thing on the interior I'm going to draw your attention to are the seats of the Toyota MR2. Now, I absolutely love these seats. They're some of my favorite. They came stock in all of the MR2s. All of them are roughly the same. Some were leather and some were cloth, and they came in different colors such as tan, black and gray, black and red, black and blue, and other colors such as blue and red, which is actually the rarest. One great feature about these seats is they are fully adjustable. The headrest can be adjusted to different lengths and fully pop back if you want them like that. And let's see how many we got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's it. I usually keep them about there. I think that looks the best to me. A little bit forward, but not too far forward, so it's comfortable. Now next, this is where it gets a little bit more interesting. We've got this dial here, this lever here, this lever here, and then another lever or dial down here. This first dial, what it does is it actually raises and lowers the seats. You can see it gets higher and you can lower it. It's pretty crazy that all of these actually still work after 38 years. This one simply just pops the whole seat forward. A little bit aggressive there, but you've got plenty of room back here to store your things. There's a little hook here for if you want to just hang your coat there. I don't really see that as necessary, but it's good if you want to use it. Next, these seats actually have lumbar support. It's written right there on the lever, and you can pop it forward 1, 2, and 3, just to give it a little bit more oomph to the seat, and you can pop it back 1, 2, 3, and it's back to normal. And then we've got this dial right here. The last feature of these seats is actually the side bolsters. A lot of people love these side bolsters because it's somewhere between a nice, comfortable, streetable car seat and kind of like a race car seat that lets you know that you're still in a sports car. So it's controlled by this dial right here, and it's actually got a pretty wide range of how much you want the side bolsters to hug you. You can kind of see it as I turn this dial. They slowly go in. It's kind of hard to notice, but you can actually turn it quite a bit if you want it to grab you a little bit more. It is really nice, and I just love the way these seats look. Very, very 80s for sure. Now, entering the car, you were immediately greeted by the steering wheel right here. If you bought a Mark 1 MR2, there is 4 different kinds of steering wheels you could have gotten. If you got a Mark 1A like this, you get this steering wheel that says Toyota with the 2 spokes. If you got the Mark 1B, you got the 3-spoke MR2 steering wheel, which came in a bunch of different colors. And if you got the Super Edition MR2, it came with the Super Edition steering wheel, and it also came with a Super Edition shift knob to go with it. The Super Edition steering wheel is my personal favorite. I think it looks just so insanely good. The last steering wheel you could have gotten in the AW11 MR2 is just the same one that came in the 86 Corolla. I've seen a couple brochures where it had the 86 steering wheel. I haven't actually seen this in real life or have been able to confirm this, but I do believe it was optioned from Toyota. Mine is obviously the Mark 1A. I think it's a really comfortable steering wheel. The spokes don't get in the way of your hands at all. You're able to move a lot around it before you hit them, so it's always felt really comfortable to drive. And here we've got a little horn button. And that horn is just so little, it's not menacing at all, which is sort of funny. Moving to the left, this is where things get a little bit interesting. This is one of the more common Mark 1A interior door cards. There were a ton of different door cards that came in the Mark 1As and Mark 1Bs. all which had different colors and different options, but the main thing you need to know is some had manual windows that roll up and down, and some had power windows. That was also in this little section, but it just had a little spot for the buttons. Versus the Mark 1Bs that had the handle right here, but not as much room to like, I guess, stash things, but the controls for the power windows were built in. Then you've just got your classic Toyota 80s doorknob that opens the door and locks, as it should. While we're looking at the door cards, these were actually originally black. They do look very purpley. A lot of the interior carpet turns kind of purple as sun changes it, but just one thing to note, these were actually black. We'll just turn the key right here. Next, we have the air vents on each side, one there and one over there. Very standard, you just twist them, they close, twist them again, they open back up. And then we have one at the center console right here. Same thing, you open and close it, and it's got two little stickers to let you know which way is open. Right above that, we have the digital clock with buttons to set the hour and minutes. And right now it is 5 o'clock in Washington State. After looking at the 3 air vents up on the dash, there's actually one down here for the passenger that is adjustable. Under the steering column on the driver's side, there's not one but 2 air vents for the driver, one here and one there, and they're actually slightly adjustable, not by much, but you have basically 4 air vents on the driver's side to cool you down, which is pretty cool. Here at the center of the car, we have the controls to the AC. We have fan speed right here. You have off, low, medium high, and then high all the way down. You also have all of these controls up here, which are labeled face, BL, which is just a mix of face and feet. You have just foot, and then you have the window defogger, and that position right there is for cooler temperature defogging, apparently, according to the manual. The center control is pretty self-explanatory, just cool and warm, but what a lot of people have missed about the Mark 1 MR2s is that some came equipped with an actual temperature regulator, so to speak, where you could set it to a certain temperature that was labeled where cool and warm originally were, set it to a certain temperature that you liked, and the temperature in the car would be automatically kept at that temperature. Mine is just the standard AC control version. Finally, down at the bottom, it's just for recirculating air, or if you want fresh air coming into the cabin. And then you have these 2 buttons right here. Air conditioning button, pretty self-explanatory, but what a lot of people don't know is this econ button. A lot of people don't know what it does. I don't really know all too much about it. The manual basically just says that it cools down the car more efficiently. So if you want to efficiently cool down the car, you press the econ button instead of the AC button, and it only lets you select one at a time. So that's what those buttons do. And then finally, at the very end, we just have the cigarette lighter. Originally, this empty void right here would be filled with the stock radio, but at some point in time, it was taken out, probably replaced with something else, but right now there's nothing in it. This, at least for mine, will be replaced with a vintage Alpine unit, which is going to look super great. It's going to match all of the green glow of the rest of the lights in the interior. I think it'll be awesome. Moving right down here, we have the ashtray, which is totally removable if you want to take it out to clean it or whatever you want to do with it. And then we have the e-brake right here. We'll talk about this shifter here in a second, but for now we're going to keep moving right here, where there would usually be listed all of the different gears, reverse, neutrals, etc. In its place on the automatic transmission, you have Toyota MR2, which is pretty cool. I like that little feature. After that, we have this nice pad right here for resting your arm. It's really comfortable when you're making your shifts, if you're in a manual, or just resting your hand on it for a second. And then we have more cubby space back here. There, now I have a better angle on it. Here's the cubby space. This one right here, I believe, is sized for cassettes. I don't really know what this one is for, but if you've got something small or anything that you just want to stow right there, that's great for that. And then we have this storage compartment right here, which has a good amount of space. As you can see, I just throw little trees in there, all the used up ones, and it closes. Pretty nice. You have kind of at least a little bit more storage than I guess most two-seaters, but still not very practical as a daily. Now let's talk about the automatic transmission for the Mark 1 MR2. A lot of people really hate the automatic transmission. I can sort of understand why. It's not really as engaging as a manual obviously would be, and a lot of people complain that it's a lot slower. However, this one did come from the factory as an automatic, so seeing as I still at this point have an automatic transmission in the car, I figured I'd go over kind of some of the quirks and specs of what's included in an automatic AW11. On the shifter itself is just the button to select each different driving mode, I guess you could say. So you have obviously park, reverse, neutral, drive, and then you have 2 and low. According to the manual, low is for basically getting more torque out of the engine if you're either hauling something or going up a hill. I don't imagine ever hauling anything in this car, but that's what this is for. You can't go apparently over 45 miles per hour in low. 2's also the same, more for mountain driving is what the manual says, and you're not supposed to go over 78 miles per hour in it. Right here on the actual shifter, you have the overdrive switch, which you can turn off and back on. And now at last, I'm going to show you the gauge cluster area. I've always really adored the whole setup of this. A lot of people describe cars as having kind of like a plane or fighter aircraft cockpit style to it, and I totally agree. I love these sections that just kind of come out of nowhere, and then this little hood right here, if that's what you call it. It really makes it feel like you're really in a sports car. It's just kind of fun. Right below this big old block thing right here is the power window adjuster button, which you can select which mirror you want and then adjust it. Let's talk about these two. This is just the rear window defogger, and then this is to control the actual headlights. The light itself has 3 different positions, or I guess you could say 4. You have off. You have the first position, which just turns on all the exterior lights, and then if you turn it one more time, it'll flip up the pop-up lights. And then the last position is if you want the pop-up lights up, but you want to turn the lights off, you press it in and turn it one more time, and it'll turn it off. Next, we have the obvious turn signal stock, which I really like this turn signal, but there's nothing really special about it besides one hidden feature of it that I'm willing to bet a lot of AW11 owners don't even know about. So obviously if you press it forward, it'll turn on the brights, but if you hold it back, it will turn on the lights. And with this you're able to hold down, or I guess hold up the lights for as long as you want and flash your brights, and then once you let go, they will go back down, which I did not know about that for a long time. Just a fun little feature if you want to flash somebody a little bit easier, pause, with instead of, you know, turning on those lights and then flashing the brights. I guess if you're like, if you're driving during the day and you need to tell somebody, hey, you've got, you know, a headlight or a taillight out, that's one easy, fast way to do it. Over on the other side, you have the cruise control, which still works on mine. I haven't taken it out, with just a power button and then a set coast button. Toyota did a lot of random extra features to the cruise control that to me are really unnecessary. I don't really care to go over them, but if you want to know about them, they're all covered in the manual, and it's pretty interesting to read. And then over on this side, you have the switch which controls the window wipers, and if you press it in, it will spray washer fluid on the windows, but it doesn't do it very well. Even when it is working, it'll kind of just spray 2 lines. I'm hoping to upgrade it to a sort of mist, but I don't really like how that works. That's my one gripe with the MR2, is that when you press it in, it just kind of sprays in 2 lines at you, and it's not really helpful. And then over on this side, you have the switch that controls the window washers. If you press it in, it will shoot washer fluid onto the windshield, but it doesn't do it very well. It just kind of goes in 2 long streams, and if you're driving, you know, not even very fast, it'll just go right over the car itself. It won't even spray on the windshield. So that's one gripe I have with the car. Right below that, there's a little light that just it just illuminates a little picture of a windshield being washed or whatever with a little sprayer. And then if your car came equipped with a manual transmission from the factory, you would have a quote-unquote poverty switch. But cars with the automatic transmissions came with the ECT button, and when you would press it in, it would engage the electronically controlled transmission to make it shift later, basically. So you can turn overdrive off, meaning it's going to use a little bit more fuel, give you a little bit more power, and then you turn the ECT on, and it would shift later, just basically giving you more out of the range of the car's capabilities. Both the ECT button and the overdrive button on the shifter both illuminate little lights on the gauge cluster when engaged, and I'll show you that right now. So when you turn overdrive off, it turns orange, and when you flick the ECT on, it also turns orange to let you know that they are both engaged, which I think is pretty cool. So as you can see, we have all of the gauge cluster illuminated, plus we have the AC controls illuminated there. Your ECT button actually illuminates as well, and then there's that little glowing windshield washer light there to let you know that you can use your windshield washer wipers. Another thing to mention about the AC controls here is that AC button turned on, it comes on. Select the fan speed, and it's a nice bright blue. Something that goes along with the gauge cluster is you've actually got a dimmer here, so you can dim it all the way dark to slightly brighter. A couple more things before we move to the outside of the car. Right below where the radio is, you'll notice these 2 cutouts on either side. These actually pop out, and you'll notice this in a lot of Toyotas from the 80s, is these little I guess you could say plastic tabs. People 3D print different things for them all the time. Some people can hold cigarettes with them. Other little inserts, little buttons. You can put whatever switches you want, if you want fog lights. And another thing that was optioned for these cars was actually the security alarm switch. So there would be a little switch here that would allow you to engage and disengage the car's security system, which is pretty neat. And now the last thing I'll show you on the inside of the car is the sunroof. Right behind this little latch, there's also a light which you can engage for the doors, or just to be off or on if you need it. And then you have this little latch which opens the sunroof or moonroof if your car had it. Some were hardtops, some were sunroofs, and some were T-tops. So just press in either one of these little buttons. Press in buttons on either side, and then just press up, and it'll keep the sunroof open and in place. The sunroofs on these cars were actually completely removable, and I'll show you that in just a little bit. Now allow me to show you some of the exterior features of the Mark I MR2. The first thing I want to show you is the side of the car, and this is one of my favorite parts of specifically the Mark 1A of the AW11s. This feature right here, it's the side molding. Now on the very early ones they were black, but on some of the 1986 models they started to branch out in a couple different colors, and the black had the side molding that had silver, red, and black all built into it right here, as you can see on these pinstripes. And they also had some additional pinstripes on the back, as you can see here, going around the bumper, front bumper as well, and some had pinstripes on the wing. Another thing you'll notice is this car does not have side skirts. Some of the later models did come with side skirts, but the Mark 1As and some of the Mark 1AB crossover models did not have side skirts. One thing you'll notice on the Mark 1As that you won't see on the Mark 1Bs is the mud flaps. On the Mark 1Bs, they only had mud flaps in the back, but on the Mark 1As, they had them also in the front. Another cool feature is that on the rear mud flaps, it actually says MR2 on it. Moving from the side of the car, we are now moving to the front. And the first thing you notice when you look at the front is a trademark of the MR2 community. It is the original MR2 Eagle badge. Another thing worth mentioning is that on the 1985 and 86, and I guess the 1984s as well, is the front bumper is actually almost completely vertical on the front. And you'll see on a lot of the 87s through 90 models that it is slightly angled on the front of the bumper. Normally on the top of the bumper you will see lettering that says Toyota right there, but mine is missing. It's been painted over, but that will be fixed. Moving to the opposite side of the car, we come to another one of my favorite features of the MR2. It is the engine side vent, and this was also a feature that was changed throughout the course of the MR2's life. This is the 84 through 86 type, and then right here is the 87 onward. Personally, this one is my favorite of the two options. Moving from the side vent up, we now come to one of my favorite features of all. It is the rear visor. Everyone watching this probably already knows everything about the rear visor, but I thought I'd cover it again. As you can see right there, you can even see the Toyota through the rear window, which is pretty cool. And it just makes the car look so much better, so 80s. I just adore that part of the car. We're now gonna skip over the engine lid and come to the back. This is the rear wing, and we also see Toyota MR2 right on the trunk lid. Now, believe it or not, the AW11 rear end changed quite a bit throughout the 80s. These taillights being one, but also the third brake light up on the wing. Now, for some reason, I wanna say the 1984 model didn't have a third brake light, but by 85, 86, it definitely did. I know that for sure. And through 87 to 90, there were a couple changes. One being the third brake light was more integrated into the rear wing, which I think I prefer that to this third brake light. And another thing missing from my car that soon will be re-added is the bumper pinstripe. These aren't the original pinstripes, and the pinstripes that were originally on it included the eagle on the back of the bumper, which is a feature I am sorely missing. Okay, let's pop the trunk. Now, there isn't much going on actually in the trunk, but I wanted to note that there is quite a bit of space in the trunk that's right next to the engine compartment, which I think is pretty cool. It's just a little bit more practicality to a very impractical car. Let's move from the trunk to the actual frunk. Now, the trunk you can open with the key or by pulling this latch right here, and here right beside it is the lever for the gas cap. But to open the frunk, it is right up here that you'll see this little latch right here that we can pull. Now, a couple things to note about the frunk of the MR2. This one, you'll see that the radiator and the fans are exposed. As the years went on, they'd add a cover right there that would kind of clean up the look of the frunk a little bit, but the Mark 1As didn't have that. Another thing that you'll see on some that you won't necessarily see on others is the front strut bar. It was a stock bar that went across the front two strut towers. And then to wrap up, you have a couple extra things. You have your washer fluid reservoir right here. You have your little miniature toolkit and floor jack. And then you have your rusty little horn that goes right there that makes that annoying little chirp. And right here is where you can find the original chassis stamp, AW11. Now that we have the frunk open, I'm gonna do something that I've actually never done before since I've owned this car, and that is stow the sunroof. Let's see if we can figure this out. So you take the latch, you press it in like that, but you're also going to pinch in these like that, and that will release it. From there you push up and it is completely out, minus that little latch right there we're gonna remove. And once you disengage that little latch right there, it is free. Looking a little bit dusty for sure. I'm gonna give that a good clean. Right here you have that little wind flap just for dissipating, like for wind noise, I guess. I'll be cleaning the top while I wait for the sunroof to cool down. It is surprisingly hot, so I'm just gonna let it cool off before I break something. Okay, that is looking a little bit better. And then roughly there is where the sunroof is supposed to go, but it's obviously a little bit wonky because I have the spare tire in the wrong spot. Driving with the sunroof off is definitely, it gives it more of the roadster appeal for sure. All right, guys, that is going to wrap it up for this one. Thank you all so much for sticking around to the very end. I enjoyed making this video so much. If you want to see more about the MR2 differences between years, Neil Jones did a great video here on YouTube going over all the differences between the Mark 1As and Mark 1Bs. I love it. Go check it out. If you live here in Washington State or around the area and you own an MR2, hit me up on Instagram. I love meeting you guys here around town and online. Keep hitting me up. I want to give a huge shout out to all of you guys supporting me, watching the videos, liking the Instagram posts. You will see more from me for sure. Next up, we are going to be doing these old wheels. They're going to be getting restored here after this weekend. You should see them. I'll make a short little video, maybe an Instagram reel about it that you guys can check out. Follow me on Instagram at Brighton Sad. Follow my friends doing car stuff. Thank you guys so much for watching the MR2 videos. Appreciate ya.